Everybody, Jim Masters here. Guess what? Our next guest is a beloved television, film, stage star, and he's a recurring star on one of your favorite series that's been around some 60 years, just celebrating their anniversary, Days of Our Lives. You can see him recurring. He's been in multiple episodes as Dr. Rolf, yes, and he's a beloved figure on that daytime drama, and we're very excited to have him here because he's back on. He's doing his thing. Richard Wharton is here, celebrated television, film, and stage actor. And not only has he been, in Days of Our Lives as the good doctor, and yes, the doctor's in the house, he's been on a lot of shows and a lot of series over the years as well. We're going to talk about that. Bert Coyote, Girl Boss, is one of them as well. And he was a medical doctor, medical examiner, Daryl Sutton, Criminal Minds. There he is. Yep. He's just got that face. When you see him, you know him, unless he lets the hair grow longer, like I've done recently. And here he is in Dragonstorm, which was something really, really cool. Here's another one for you as well. Dr. Van Owen, Path of Destruction. Do you recall that as well? This is a great shot too. Rizzoli, and we're going to talk about that in a second. A lot of great things he's been in. Look at this shot. The Pitt, Grayson. This is something that he's in now as well. And again, he's a prolific actor. He's out in LA. He's a Chicago kid and went west. And here he is. He was the funeral director in The Affair. It reminds me of do you remember the actress on The Twilight Zone? That episode when the actress was having the nightmare, and Jonathan Harris from Lost in Space was on that. And there was the nurse that would come in the room, and the woman was having these nightmares about the morgue and about being escorted to the morgue all the time. She was an actress. She was a singer on Twilight Zone. And the nurse would come in her nightmares, in her dream, kind of like with that look, and say, "Room for one more, honey," in the morgue. Well, that's a cool look. But look here, too. Isn't that a great shot? And so is this. He's a man of 1,000 faces and 1,000 looks and 1,000 roles, too. In addition to all of these roles, and again, there's countless more, our very special guest has been on television for a number of years now. Running Scared, Fatal Confession, Our Father Dowling Mystery, Next of Kin, Men Don't Leave, The Borrower, The Fence, March in Windy City, Charmed. He's been on Will and Grace, Herman USA, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Star Trek Enterprise, Haunted, as well as Deadwood, Dragonstorm, Carnival, The Drew Carey Show, 2 episodes of that, Drake and Josh, he was on that, Grounded for Life, The New Partridge Family, CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, 6 Feet Under, The Comeback, as I mentioned, Path of Destruction, The Key, Crossing Jordan. Any of these kicking in the memory bank there for you, gang? Absolutely. This is the guy. How I Met Your Mother. He was the art professor on an episode of that. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. What We Do Is Secret. Numbers. Nip Tuck. Dirty Sexy Money. 10 Things I Hate About You. Type A. The Mentalist. Sound of My Voice. Psychosis. CSI. Miami. Torchwood. He's busy. He's in demand. Why? Because he's very talented and he can play a lot of different roles and convincingly. He was in Robbed, Common Law, Edge of Salvation, Seven Psychopaths, Bones, The Young and the Restless, 8 episodes of The Young and the Restless recurring as well. Autumn Wanderer, Ray Donovan, Thor, The Dark World. Yep, this is the guy. Newsreaders, Guides, Mike and Molly, Rizzoli and Isles, and also The Slice, Major Crimes, Roadies, Girl Boss, as I mentioned, NCIS, Criminal Minds, Uncorked, Art Prison, The Affair, Telling Lies, The Politician, Silicon Valley, The Nowhere Inn, and on and on. An American Crime Story, The Pitt, Days of Our Lives, over 65 episodes of Days of Our Lives as well, which again is celebrating a milestone anniversary, which they just did recently. And again, you recall him on that, and he's on it now, which is fantastic. And he's really, really good in that role. So with all of that said, because there's much more than what I just touted here, this was just the short list of this wonderful actor's background. Again, Chicago kid, made good in Tinseltown. Here is Richard Wharton here on the Jim Masters Show as my special guest. Richard, welcome to the show, my friend. An honor and a pleasure. I can't believe we actually have you sitting down in one zip code, but we have, because you are here, there, and everywhere, my friend.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
You know, you're very welcome. You grew up in Chicago. Was there any influence in the family, anybody in the family that were actors, entertainers, singers, writers, that sort of spurred this interest for you? When did you first get interested in theater and film and television and acting and performance?
Well, nobody in the family. I kind of rolled into it over time. But one story is when I was in fourth grade, I was I needed to be near the teacher. The teacher had to have me sit close to him because I was a little bit of a distraction sometimes. And he called the boy over to talk to him. I was supposed to be doing my homework or whatever. And he was asking the boy if he'd like to be in a play, that there was an adult company that needed a boy. And I said, I'll do it. And he said, I'm not talking to you. Sit down. And as it turned out, that boy's parents didn't want to do it. And so the teacher asked me, and I ended up being in this play with a group. They were doing a religious play called The Song of Deborah, but they were doing it at the not Drury Lane, at McCormick Place, had the Airy Crown Theater, which is a very large theater in Chicago. And I was this walk on. I remember the biggest part of it was that at the end, the heroine came back from war and I ran onto the stage and hugged her. But it was there was a rich backstage life with me hanging out with all these actors in the green room. And I kind of, enjoyed that. And then I did a couple more plays in grade school, and then I joined the drama club in high school, and then I did a bunch of plays there and had a great time. And it was really about the camaraderie, right? The friends you make while you're doing it, as much as the joy of doing it. And then when I got to college, I tried to pick a college that had everything I loved about high school, right? Track and cross country and choir and theater. And I was studying to be an accountant. And as it turned out, I did more theater than my accounting homework. So eventually I switched.
Wow. I'm sure the accountant part does help you in the business part of show business, huh?
It does. And I've had a lot of positions over the years. You as an actor, you always, at my level, I always have something else that I'm doing that's helping support me. So I've had different jobs as carpentry jobs, tech crews, special events companies, but oftentimes I was in charge of a crew. So I was tallying things up. And now I work for my wife. She has an art consulting business, and I am her bookkeeper and art installer.
So how do you balance it all? How do you balance doing that with the calls that come in? Because, you've done so many different things and you're recurring on shows, like you had been on The Young and The Restless and others. And of course, many, many episodes, and continuing with the great folks over at Days of Our Lives too.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything I've done in terms of a side job has always been flexible and something I scheduled myself. Even, when I was in Chicago and I was on running some crews, I had a little bit more responsibility to be there. But the people I worked with, well, in Chicago, I worked a lot with a special events company called Ravenswood Special Events. It was run by another person who used to be an actor, Ralph Concepcion. And Ralph was a good friend of mine, and I was kind of his partner. And he was flexible. He understood my schedule, and we would work around it. And I would find people to fill in if I needed somebody to fill in. And now, working for my wife, I'm working on my own time. I'm also the chief domestic officer of our household. So I have that other responsibility, but I feed it all together.
So when we're done with this episode of the Jim Masters Show, you have some light dusting you have to do, and there's laundry that's got to come out of the dryer.
Yep, probably grocery shopping and cooking as well.
There's a meatloaf in the oven, folks, too. He is a multitasker. And he's also the doctor in the house, too, at least on Days of Our Lives. What a
That's
role
right.
to have. And with the folks that are there, and they're celebrating this milestone anniversary. I can't believe how many years they've been on NBC on television since the black and white days, with all those other beloved daytime dramas or soap operas. And it's like the 60th, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. 60 years of Days of Our Lives. What has that feeling like? Because you're there, you're on set, you're working with everybody, and all these legendary people that have come through the set and have been on those sets at Days of Our Lives. What is that feeling for you? And what is it like now as they hit this milestone of 60 years? And congratulations, because you're part of that family too.
I'm lucky to be there. I'll tell you that. It's pretty amazing. There's people. Well, Deirdre Hall has done over 5,000 episodes. I can't even imagine that. I feel lucky, to have been on it for 4 years. And just the people I work with, they're all great. They're all very welcoming. They're all very talented, and they know their stuff. And I'm just trying to keep up. And also, that facility, we're working in the same building that Johnny Carson show was in, the same studios. That building has a lot of history.
Or is that Burbank?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Burbank.
Yeah, that's where it is. NBC Burbank.
Yeah. You walk down the back hall and there's all these paintings. Walt Disney's on the wall with Tinkerbell and Johnny Carson with a big, I don't know what you would call it, a Swami hat on. There's all these drawings and stuff. It's really amazing to walk by and just feel
Karnak the Magnificent and all of that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Karnak.
Exactly.
Wow. So you're there. There's a lot of history and it's kind of like the other building, CBS Television City, where so many of those shows were done at CBS. I mean, All in the Family, everything was done at Television City, NBC Burbank. So that's exciting. Yeah, you're working hallowed halls there at NBC in Burbank. We're going to talk about some of the other incredible things, but how did the Days of Our Lives roll? Dr. Rolf, how did that whole thing come your way? And what was that auditioning process like? And did they know that you were perfect? Or how did that work? Because it's a great role and you're terrific at it.
It was kind of a surprise for me. It was during COVID. So during COVID, we moved into self-tapes for auditioning. So instead of going out, you were just and meeting a casting director, you were just recording yourself at home and recruiting somebody to read lines with you, in this case, my wife. And I auditioned for the role. I thought, oh, this is a nice part. This sounds great. I did not know that I was replacing another actor. I had no idea. And it wasn't until I got in the makeup chair and people were talking about, oh, you kind of look like William Ute. And I'm like, who? And it turned out that William Ute had done the role for 20 years and over 800 episodes. And then different actors that I would work with would tell me their stories about their relationship with Rolf and interactions they'd had with Rolf over the years, where maybe Drake Hodgson had been his assistant for a while or had been brainwashed by him. And I'm like, there's so much I don't know about my character, but I've been learning as I go. And
you were welcomed too, because sometimes when you're replacing somebody who's had a role for a long time, the crew, the other cast members, and the viewers are so used to that person and to their mannerisms and their way of doing what they do. And then for you to come in and have to take on the role as the other person moves on, was that a daunting task? And did everybody respond in a open door, welcoming way, whether it's viewers and others, like, okay, he's the new guy, and let's root him on.
I think that everybody at Days, the cast and everybody I worked with, totally welcomed me with open arms and helped me, and kind of they just were responsive to me, and it was really a pleasure to be there. And
Yeah.
it was kind of fortuitous. Dr. Rolf was coming out of prison. I don't know how long he had been in prison, but he was coming out of prison with some other characters. There was this big scene with like 5 of us coming out of prison. We'd all gotten pardoned. And so it was, I have long hair, I have a ponytail. Well, William didn't. But, we just took on the thought that while he was in prison, he didn't cut his hair. And so it all kind of worked out that way. And they braid it and they make it look really nice. And it's just been really fun. And I have been welcomed, and it's been just a pleasure to work with these people. They're just amazing to work with. And a lot of my first storyline, a lot of it was with the character of Kristen, and Stacy Heidick was just great to work with. We'd get together, even though they had a lot of COVID protocols. So you would go, and there was no like hanging out in the green room. You'd have to hang out in your dressing room. But we would put on masks and go stand outside and read lines, or we would meet in a dressing room, but stay far apart. But we'd run lines and stuff before we actually got to the set, and that really cemented things for me and helped me to fit in.
Which is perfect. It's a perfect scenario because it makes it easier for you to then take on the role and make magic with it, which is fantastic because people have really responded to you. And again, anybody who is a huge fan of Days of Our Lives and the soaps or the daytime dramas, they know you, they know the role, and you're very, very good at it. And it's an interesting thing, daytime drama, isn't it? Right? Like you've done Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless. Yeah. The fans are right there with you. They have all these splinter groups and online, and they know the dialogue, they know the sets, they know, the people that you're involved with. They know the storylines, and sometimes they root for the person, sometimes they don't root for the person, or they don't
Mm-hmm.
like when this person is now dating or marrying that person on the shows and stuff.
They know a lot more about it than I do.
That's what a lot of people say that we've had come in from different TV series. They're like, we did that, 30 years ago, and I don't remember that episode, but the viewer does. That
Mm-hmm.
And daytime fans are very, very loyal, aren't they?
Oh yeah, the 4 of the guys from the show have a group called the Day Players Band, and they go around. They do promotional things around the country, and they play at like comedy clubs and whatever. And they'll get a ton of fans that come to these events. And I went to one in Los Angeles. I've actually been to a couple, and I was standing in line, and there were these 3 women, and they say, "Aren't you Dr. Rolf?" And I say, "Yes." And I got to talk with them, and it was a mother, daughter, and granddaughter, all 3 of them fans of the show, and the mother had been watching it since day one. And it was pretty impressive and intimidating in a way, because that it's important to them, and you want to live up to that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of times they pour out their heart to you too, as far as how much the TV series means to them, and how, they've gotten through even things in their own life because of the comfort that's provided by watching the scenarios that happen on these series, especially something like Days of Our Lives. It's been around 60 years, 6 decades of, generations of people who've grown
Right.
up with and are still loyal to a series like Days of Our Lives and Young and the Restless and General Hospital and some of these others. How do you describe the character? What are the elements of Richard that have enhanced the character of Dr. Rolf, and how much of Dr. Rolf is Richard, and Richard Dr. Rolf?
Well, I think me as Dr. Rolf is sometimes extremely energetic, and sometimes they have to tell me to slow down because I tend to sometimes talk a little too fast. But like that photo you're showing there, he gets really excited, and that's me. I can get excited and like, cheer myself basically.
Well, I was told by the folks in Hollywood that when you were realizing you were coming on the Jim Master Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series here in New York, that was the reaction that you had, which I
Totally,
really appreciate,
totally
Dr. Rolf.
true.
I appreciate that, Doctor. Doctor's
Yes,
orders.
Jim
Yes, I'm
Masters.
going on the Jim Master Show. Exactly. So they tell you to sort of like temper things a little bit, or
Sometimes, we work really fast.
sure. Oh,
You'll go
yeah.
in and, I might get a chance to work on lines ahead of time with the actors, but once you're on the set, it's rehearse, shoot, rehearse, shoot, rehearse, shoot. And sometimes you'll get a few takes, but a lot of times you do it in one or two and then you move on because they're shooting an episode a day. And when I come in, usually all my scenes are in a row. So I'll come in and I'll be there for a few hours getting ready. And then when I shoot, I'm pretty much done within an hour because they just slam through it and then they move on to the next grouping. And so that's fast and you have to be ready and on your toes.
And it's great training. Folks that I know that have worked on the soaps, especially in New York, because we're on the East Coast here, and others who have been guests on our show talk about the intensity of being on set because it's go, go, go. Even if there's a slight flub or mistake or something, a lot of times they'll just leave it in
Yep.
because it adds some authenticity to everything. And they have to keep on schedule and moving because it's episode after episode because they're shooting several things in advance because these shows are on 5 days a week, every single week for 60 years in this case. And so there's constant content that's being created, and that scripts are like thick, and there's a lot of memorization that has to happen. And how do you work through all of that, all the memorization, the scripting, the dialogue? It can be intense. People have said if you can survive working for a soap opera, a daytime drama, you can pretty much do anything else after that.
I believe it. I'm, I have it easy compared to some of the contract players. I'm a guest person, so I'll get called a few weeks in advance, and they'll say, "Are you available this date?" And hold it, hold this week or whatever, and then I'll get a script sometimes as much as 2 weeks in advance, and I might only be shooting one script in a week, or most I've shot is maybe 4 episodes in a week, like two one day and two another day. But usually I have 2 weeks to prepare. A lot of these people are shooting every day, and so they don't have as much time as I do to get ready, and they have more material in general. And so for me, I try to slam it out within a week, so then I have a week to just practice it without having to try to learn it. So I try to learn it the first week, and then just keep going over it. And I have an app that I use that will basically, I read the other person's lines into the app, and then it'll just loop it to me, and I can just keep doing it while I'm in the car or wherever. And that just helps me for it to be ingrained, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is some of your preparation, whether it's, for the role of Dr. Rolf on Days of Our Lives or anything else? Is there a certain routine like that you do to mentally disconnect from everything else and focus and prepare? Are you one who likes to be incredibly prepared, like a classically trained singer would be, very, very almost overly prepared? Or do you let it roll a little bit where, okay, I'm going to be prepared, but I'm not going to lock myself in, and I'll be a little loose about it too? What is your overall way of approaching a role and your preparation at it too?
Well, I think I like to be as prepared as possible and then try to let it roll. The danger is you don't want to get locked into a certain performance, right? You want to be loose enough to react to the people who you're dealing with, and also react to direction, so that you don't get a direction and then just say it the same way. But I generally get a script, read it again, read it again, start maybe trying to do lines. Sometimes when I get to the point where I'm trying to memorize the lines, I do it in short bursts. I'll work on it a little bit, put it down, work on it a little bit, put it down, go over the same thing I just did. I have been known to, if it's something I'm really worried about, or there's a lot of content, I'll go to sleep, wake up at 11 or 12, run it, go to sleep, wake up at 3 or 4, run it. And, I just like keep doing it. And I think the breaks in between really help. And I also think sometimes doing it at night for me, I don't know, I'm not sleeping on it, but just, I don't have a lot of other things in my mind, right? I'm totally clear. I'm an open book. So it seems like it's easier to put it in. But yeah, I tend to work in short bursts until I get it, and then just repeat.
There's some truth to that, working at night, because the house is quiet and the phone's not ringing off the hook, and you don't have all these texts and emails and urgency. And I have a friend of mine who's written a lot of screenplays, and he will wake up out of his sleep at like 2 o'clock in the morning and run to, starting with the typewriter and now, of course, the computer, but just whatever he's thinking about, or maybe even what it was in his dream too, he just documents, and he gets more out of nighttime when everybody in the house is sleeping and not calling his attention. And, I find the same thing too. Do you tend to be a night owl?
I've gone through different stages. I'm not a night owl now. I'm trying to get to bed by 10:30. I have a little thing on my phone that does a little sound that says, "Go to sleep."
Do you really?
10:30.
Yeah.
So,
and do you get a good 8 hours, or you're a twister turner?
I'm a twister turner, and I always have to get up and relieve myself at some point. And I tend to get up sometime between 6 and 7. Sometimes a little bit earlier, because I've been playing golf 2 days a week. I try to get there so I could be the first one on at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Do you do a lot of physical preparation? I mean, fitness, cardio, different things, warming up the voice, different things, so you're physically, mentally ready to get on set and, make the magic?
I try to do something physical at least 6 days a week. I'm playing golf a couple of days a week. I do yoga in between. I go to the gym on Saturdays with my friend Tony Amendola, who I worked with on Dragonstorm many years ago. And we started during COVID, we started hiking, and we would hike every Saturday. And there was in Griffith Park, which is a huge park here in LA. I have a book called Discovering Griffith Park, and it has all this information about Griffith Park, but it also includes a list of trails, and there's 33 trails, and we made it our goal to do all of them, which we did. And they range from, I think most of them are around an hour or 2 hours, but the longest, there's a couple of 4-hour hikes that basically cross the entire park, peak to peak. And but we've kind of stopped that because both of us have had injuries of some sort or another. So now we just go to the gym and we do our biking and stretching and do the pool. So I'm still trying to do as much as I can. I'm under the impression that you use it or you lose it. So I'm trying to keep using everything.
It's very, very true. It really is. That's a good way to do it, to be prepared to take on these roles like the doctor. So the doctor is very happy that Richard takes care of himself.
Yes. I'm following doctor's orders.
That's it. I was going to say, do you ever have people that see you as the doctor on Days of Our Lives and ask you for medical advice? Like, I've got this sniffle, I've got this eye twitch that just won't go away. And
that has never happened. The other thing I do, though, to prepare is, Dr. Rolf has a German accent. And so I studied the German accent, but then to kind of improve on that, I've been doing Duolingo. German, trying to learn a little German. And I actually studied German a little bit when I was in high school. So I had a little bit of a head start, but all of that feeds in, right? Because the accents within the program feed me. And I listen to, there's a website that has all these different accents you can listen to. And I go on and listen to those once in a while. But that's a great learning tool for me in terms of preparation.
So for anybody that is now going to check out Days of Our Lives who has not seen Dr. Rolf, as millions and millions have, what would a little bit of Dr. Rolf sound like? Oh, that's a good laugh. That's a Dr. Rolf laugh.
I try not to speak as Dr. Rolf, except in character. I try to keep him separate from my life.
But he's always there, he's around you. And well done, my friend. And, to talk about the variety of things that you have done in addition to the Dr. Rolf character on the beloved Days of Our Lives. And happy anniversary, everybody, at Days of Our Lives. 60th anniversary. Amazing. Just about a week ago, they celebrated that. You mentioned Dragonstorm. What a role, huh? To be a part of that. Tell us that role and how that came along for you.
That was directed by Stephen Furst, who was in Animal House. You might remember him from that.
Yeah.
And he's actually a really great director. And he cast me in LA. I was one of 5 actors that came from LA, and we went to Bulgaria, along with John Rhys Davies, who came from England. And the rest of the characters were fill-ins from Bulgaria. And it was really amazing. I'd been to England before, but I'd never been to Europe as the continent. And just the history that we were surrounded with. We filmed a week or so in Vidden, which is a bit remote. And there was a castle there that we filmed in, an old castle. And that was pretty amazing. And then we worked the rest of the time in Sofia. I was there for 25 days, which was amazing. And I spent a lot of time, my off hours, walking around the city, going into different churches and synagogues and stuff, just to see the architecture and the stained glass, and just walking around the city in general. It was pretty amazing experience.
And was it 2 sci-fi projects that you worked on in Bulgaria with Stephen Furst?
Yes. I was there for Dragonstorm, and these were both produced by UFO. And they had their own production company, that they had their own studio in Bulgaria. They were basically making movies for Sci-Fi. And then shortly after I came back from Dragonstorm, I think maybe another actor had dropped out. I don't know what happened, but I was sent back. And I worked in Death Cloud, which was renamed Path of Destruction. And for that one, they flew me in. It's a long flight. It was like 14 hours with a layover in Germany. And I rested the day I got there. And then the next day, I shot from early in the morning till late at night, shot all my scenes. And then I was on a plane the next morning. After a big shootout where I got all bloody against the wall.
That's
it's crazy.
So that was a pleasure, huh? I mean, that was a great experience too, huh?
Yeah. And fun to go back and see the crew that I had worked with on Dragonstorm. They were all, glad to see me. It was really fun to be with them again. Short but sweet.
And a big following with that too. You're talking about some of the makeup and the way that they can do you up. Another great role that I know you're proud of, which is exciting, because you've recurred on multiple TV shows, The Politician, Girl Boss, The Young and the Restless as well, guest star, and I Think You Should Leave. Many credits, as we mentioned: Hacks, All American, NCIS, The Affair, Criminal Minds, Silicon Valley, Ray Donovan, which is extraordinary. But Grayson and the Pitt, the Emmy-winning drama, to be a part of, that is something quite special. Amazing. Huh?
Oh yeah.
And look at that shot.
Yeah. And if that was Days of Our Lives, all my scenes would have been shot. Boom. I would have been out of there in less than an hour probably.
Right.
But for that, the way they filmed it was they were so thorough that my character could be in the background of somebody else's scene because all this stuff is happening all around, and there's so many patients being dealt with in a crisis situation. So
Yeah.
it was very crowded. So I was there for 2 weeks. It was kind of amazing to be around it that long and to get to watch everything that was going on around me.
Mm. Tell us
And then
about the character for people who don't know about Grayson and about the series, about the Pitt.
well, I mean, should I say? Because if you haven't watched it, that's a surprise episode. But
Or just overall Grayson.
yeah,
Yeah.
Grayson was an old hippie at a rock concert and got wounded. And he was kind of, oh, it's just the graze. I just got grazed. And then, of course, later that graze turned into some complications. And then next thing you know, they're drilling a hole in my head.
It's amazing sometimes, like going through makeup and the things that they are able to do and turn you into different characters and looks and everything else. It's extraordinary, right? They are so
Oh,
talented in the makeup department.
oh yeah. Yeah. They had this special effect thing on my head that they did a casting and then they built on that.
So it
And
took hours and hours, huh?
oh yeah. And the first week, when they were using it, it took, but then later they backed off because since I was going to be in the background, they didn't need it to be close up ready.
Hmm.
But also with that show, there's a doctor that was one of the writers. There's always a doctor on set, and one of the she wasn't an extra because she's one of the regular cast, was a nurse. So they were very authentic, and there were people there to tell the other actors how to do things right, and they were very concerned about portraying these heroes in our world authentically. And I think they did a great job. It was really, really a well done show.
Which is fantastic. Also being involved in Girl Boss, Bert. Tell us about that character.
Bert, oh, that was a fun character. Bert, when he comes on, he's like these girls,
Yeah.
ladies had busted into this old warehouse, and they're looking around and they're thinking, "Hey, this is awesome." And then he comes in like, "What are you doing in here?"
Yeah. What?
And he's kind of scary at first, but then you realize he's joking. And the next thing you know, he's renting out that space, and then they transform it into their home base for Girl Boss. And unfortunately, it only lasted one season, but otherwise it might have continued to be their home base. But
Where was that shot?
that was shot in LA.
It was LA. Yeah.
I can't even remember where that warehouse was, but it was supposed to be like on the docks. And in fact, in one of the scenes, I was in the background. They were doing like a photo shoot, and I was in the background working on a boat, sanding the boat. But he was this old codger, kind of like me.
Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, curmudgeon. That's a good word, right? A mensch, which is a good thing to be. That's a good thing to wear that with a badge of honor, Dr. Rolf. And so many shows. Again, I just, that was a short list that I did in the beginning when we were kicking off the show. But I love the look and the affairs, the funeral director. It reminds me again, the look of that. I don't know if you saw that Twilight Zone episode where that actress is in the hospital bed and she's having these nightmares that she's constantly brought to the morgue. And there is this nurse that always opens up the door to the morgue, and she has that same expression that you have. And she says to her, "Room for one more, honey."
It's extremely frightening.
Yes. Tell us about this role as the funeral director.
It wasn't a huge role, but I was really, really happy to do it because, for a while, granted, I did this on purpose. I let my hair grow because I talked to somebody and they said, find a niche. And so I said, okay, I'm going to let my hair grow and I'm going to be that guy. I could play a hippie. I could play a homeless guy. I could play a psychologist, or a college professor or a crazy person. But for that role, that was one of the first roles where I was in the mainstream, so to speak, a funeral director. You don't think of that as a long-haired person, but they were brave enough to cast me. And then, you see that nice braid they did. I was a very classy funeral director. And that particular role, there was a conflict between a couple different characters about what kind of service to have and who should be presiding and everything. And he was kind of stuck in the middle and trying not to offend anyone and go with the highest bidder, so to speak, in terms of who was going to win that argument. But it was really great. And in fact, I went to the casting director and thanked him for casting me, just because it was something different. It was something out of what I had been getting previously.
Exactly.
And it opened the door in a way for me to think about myself.
Right.
And,
Exactly. Didn't make you think of your mortality, did it?
no,
I mean,
no.
maybe a little bit, right? The funeral director. But you were able to explore aspects of yourself that maybe you didn't tap into before for that role, which is fantastic. Do they tend to see you as a certain kind of character? Are you playing more of the dramatic or comedic roles? And for you personally, do you love specific genres, or you're willing to take on anything? It's a challenge to you.
I'm willing to take on anything. I think of myself comically, but ironically, I seem to be getting more dramatic roles than comic. Early on, I did a Drew Carey, which was very funny. In fact, I punched Drew Carey in the stomach, which was fun. But he took it well. He was a very fun to work with.
Well, before he got that coveted gig as Price is Right host, huh?
Oh man,
what a opportunity that was for him.
Yeah, that's a lifetime right there.
That and Ryan Seacrest with Wheel of Fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I tend to get more dramatic roles or quirky roles, which have a little bit of comedy in them.
Do you like to write, direct, produce? Do you like to create some of your own material on the side as well, Richard?
I wish I could say I did. I every once in a while I wake up and I write something down, but I always throw it away.
You do?
Yeah.
Maybe you should save some of it and just put it in a drawer and then come out and piece things together. Maybe you've got something that turns out to be golden.
I flunked playwriting in college. It's the only class I flunked. But it was kind of it was because I ended up, I had turned something in. He told me to rewrite it. I didn't rewrite it. And I thought I was going to get an incomplete. And then I would work on it over the next semester, which was over the summer. Well, he failed me. And I said, but, and he said, well, you didn't turn anything in. I had nothing to grade you on. And I was like, oh yeah. Okay.
So it wasn't that the work was poor. It's just that there was no work.
There was no work.
It's
my first play was a couple of dogs talking, and they were going to make a fortune reselling their manure, and the teacher's comment was, dogs don't talk. Of course, years later, I should have written him and said, hey, have you heard of cats?
Right. And didn't in the that animated stop action claymation series from the 60s, Davy and Goliath, the dog Goliath talked to Davy.
There you go. There you go. But, live and learn.
Right. And what about, Scooby-Doo talks. You really dig deep. Some of these dogs do talk.
That's right.
That's really amazing. It's, some great experiences. We pulled up this too. I just thought that this was a cool shot.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Was this from something specific?
It's, I Think You Should Leave.
Yes. That's right.
And it's a sketch show.
You're a guest star on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sketch show. And I was very pleased. I filmed this, and it ended up being the last scene of the last episode of the show. So my sketch was the last
It's
sketch of the
perfect.
show for that season. It was
And
the
that's
season
what
that,
they saw.
yeah.
That is
And,
perfect.
it was basically a long monologue that they then cut into pieces, but they had it filmed as a monologue. So I just went in and did this monologue, and they directed me, and I did it again and again and again, and then that was it. And at one point, Tim Robinson, who's the creator of the show, came in. He wasn't directing that particular episode, and he came in and he gave me some direction and had me do some different things. Do it. Some outlandish takes, so to speak. Do it this crazy way or whatever. And then they pieced it all together, and it turned out great. It was part of a video that people had to watch before they got their ears pierced at Claire's. But the guy like rambles on about all kinds of stuff, and it's kind
Yeah,
of
it's
crazy.
cool,
He's
right?
basically insane.
A quirky, unique character for sure. And weren't you in a commercial for a company or product where you're in a circle and it's a yoga sort of
Yes,
setting?
yes. That was for, what was that? I think that was for
Was it
White Castle.
Athena? Oh,
It was
White Castle,
White
yes.
Castle,
For
and
White Castle.
we're all sitting in the circle, and then all of a sudden we've trans meditated, and we're all like floating in space. And there's another guy there in a lounger chair, a recliner, and he's eating a sandwich. And it turns out that all my students who were my followers then go and follow this guy because his meditation is just eating this new chicken sandwich from White Castle.
And White Castle is big here on the East Coast for sure.
He's big
Yeah.
in Chicago too.
Yeah. A lot of people, those late night runs, 1 o'clock in
Yeah,
the morning after entertainment or whatever, and you go in that drive through line and you get
get
a
some sliders.
bunch of those. But as time goes on, they don't always agree with you the next morning, like they
Hmm.
did maybe when you were 19,
Right.
18. Then you got to call in Dr. Rolf to solve it.
That's right.
That's
We'll be
uh,
pumping that stomach.
you're exactly right. Um, I know that a majority of the previous recurring roles, you say they sort of wrapped up in unique ways. Tell us about that.
Hmm. Um, well, not all necessarily unique ways, but for instance, I had a recurring role on the one season of Haunted. It only lasted one season. It was actually a great show. It should have gone longer, and it was kind of the predecessor to a bunch of shows where somebody had visions of ghosts or whatever. But I was like a bar owner and landlord to the lead character, and so that wrapped up in that the show got cut. And in fact, my last episode didn't even air on TV here. Um, but then I did Young and the Restless, and my character started out as kind of a villainous character, but then they decided he wasn't necessarily that big of a villain, and they kind of softened him and eased him out. Um, and I don't think it was a reflection of my character or my portrayal. I think it was just the storyline that they decided they wanted to go in a different direction. Um, and then I've been cast as a couple of other recurring roles for pilots where I was cut before it aired, which was unfortunate. But it was an extraneous character. Or maybe they didn't want a homeless guy in this episode. Um, so things happen.
Sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. You could film it, shoot it, and then there's a sudden change or something happens, or even the whole project doesn't even happen. They lose funding or
right.
yeah. Do you do a lot of independent films, independent work as well?
I've only done a few, but one that turned out very well was Sound of My Voice. Sound of My Voice started out as a 12-day, $100 a day shoot, and on a low budget contract. But then it went to Sundance, as well
Mhm.
as another film. Britt Marling was the lead in that, and she was also a co-writer with Zalba
Hmm.
Manglic, and she was co-writer with another person, and they, all three of them, I think, shared a. I don't know if they were in a living situation, I believe, and so she would go right with one and then go right with the other, and she was bouncing back and forth between the two. Both films, the other one was called Another Earth, and both films went to Sundance. Both got picked up, and that was the beginning of Zal and Britt doing a bunch of things together. And
Wow.
yeah, that did really well. I haven't done any other independent things that turned out quite that well.
Are there roles that are out there that you would love to have, that just a role that you because you've played so many different characters, so many different looks, so many different deliveries, which is fantastic. You're very versatile as an actor. But are there roles out there that you're like, gee, I would like to tackle that, or I would love to be that? I'd love any of that for you, Richard?
You know, I've pretty much taken whatever comes along, kind of thing, which is sometimes a detriment because I don't have necessarily strong goals except to work. Um, you know, case in point, I always thought I would get married, right? I just thought it would happen. And I got to 40 and it hadn't happened. And I realized if you want something, sometimes you have to make it happen. And so I started telling people, hey, I'm looking for a serious relationship. Set me up. You got a blind date? I'll take it.
Did you hand
And
out business cards or headshots, resumes?
I had
Hey,
little
look,
stickers that I put
I'm
inside
on
toilet
TV.
stalls, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but no, I went on a few blind dates, and they didn't go so well. Not that they were bad, just that it felt like shopping. You know, it's like I like
You
this,
couldn't
oh, I
see
like
each
this,
other
I
because
like
there were
this, I
blind
don't like that.
dates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I had a friend set me up and with my wife, and when I talked to her on the phone, I didn't want to get into that sit across the table and talk to somebody and compare likes. And
Right, yeah.
she sounded like an active person. And in Chicago, you could rent Hobie Cat sailboats, little 16-foot Hobie Cats,
Oh, yeah.
for an hour for $25 from the park district.
Mhm.
And I said, "You want to go sailing?" And she did. And we went, and it was great because we were having an activity. We were also talking here and there, but you know, she would steer, I would steer. We would both do take over, and I got to see how she handled herself. And then when the hour was up, we decided to go to lunch, and then the rest is kind of history. But in terms of writing or producing that kind of thing, I've never tackled it, and I am I'm thinking about it more and more. Let's say that
How
I
about, more theater, like if Broadway called or, more
oh,
of that kind of work, would that be something of interest for you
I
too?
would love to work in New York because I never have. Um, I've worked actually in 37 states because I toured with a company, four people in a van, doing four different shows for 9 months. So
Kind
I've
of
done
shows
that.
with those?
We did Love by Murray Sisco. We did the Diary of Adam and Eve, which is a musical. We
Right.
did The Drunkard, which is a melodrama musical. And we did Shaw's St. Joan. One person played St. Joan, and the other three played all the other characters.
Wow. Cool.
And you know, it was two lights and a couple of curtains. You know what I mean? It was very bare bones. But we played Air Force bases, colleges, churches, you name it, all one night stands pretty much. It
And the
was
other ones that you were playing with, are they still in the industry? Or they go off to other things?
pretty much to other things. One I've kept in touch with. The other two, I'm not quite sure what they're doing. I've tried to catch them, but I can't quite find them. Um,
What are some other things you like to do away from entertainment, away from television and, being on sets and scripts, and what do you find is your balance? Of course, you have your wonderful wife, you balance each other, but
I've
what are
got a
some
wife. I've
things?
got two. We've got two kids who are still living with us, 22 and 25, boy and a girl, man and a
There's a
woman.
cat outside on the other side of the door waiting to
We
get
got
in,
two
right?
cats.
Two cats.
Well, actually three because my son has one. Um, and then, I cook. I,
What's your
I,
specialty? If we came over for dinner, what is the Richard
I don't
specialty?
know. I don't know.
Like, what
I
would you
tried,
whip up if we were coming over for dinner? What would be your?
you know, it's hard to say. I really try to like bring new things in all the time. That's part of the joy of cooking is trying new recipes.
Do you try to eat
Um,
healthy? Do you like comfort
Generally
food?
healthy.
What's your?
My wife is doesn't eat meat. She will eat some seafood once in a while. I do like to make a good salmon.
Salmon's
Um,
good, yeah.
uh, there's a salmon. What is it called? Crispy salmon something recipe with kale, and you cook up this
Ooh,
kale, and you put it on the plate, and then you cook up the salmon, and you put it on the bed of kale. It's awesome.
that
I,
sounds good.
almost every week or every 2 weeks, I make a vegetable soup, a chunky vegetable soup. With
Hearty. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and then the other day the kids really love this. It was tuna fritters. You make these basically it's tuna and cheese and some other stuff, and you create patties and you fry up the patties.
So you
Oh,
take the tuna,
hmm
and what kind of cheese do you use? I love tuna and I love
yeah.
cheese.
You know,
How do
I
you do
wish I
that?
could remember the whole recipe.
What kind of cheeses do you use? A variety or just one kind of cheese, and you chop it all up and put it in the
I
tuna?
think for that it was shredded cheddar, and
And do you do mayonnaise in the tuna, or is just the tuna by itself with the cheese in it?
the tuna. Gosh, I
Do you
can't
do
remember
it
the
like you
recipe.
normally would make tuna fish, where there's mayonnaise or whatever
Yeah,
in it?
yeah.
Or-
It had some. It had eggs in it,
Oh,
tuna
wow.
fish, cheese.
This sounds good.
What else? There might have been some. I don't think there was mayonnaise in the patties. There was mayonnaise in the special aioli sauce that you made, which was
And an
mayonnaise,
aioli sauce too.
lemon zest. I zested the whole lemon and then squeezed all the juice from the lemon into it.
Is this
Oh
one of your own creations?
no, it's I forget where that one's from. I
That
have an
sounds
app.
good.
I have an app that's like how to cook everything or something.
Yeah, how
And
to boil water
yeah.
or
I use some recipes from that, but then I get a lot of apps recipes from Instagram, and
yeah,
so I
sure.
I have this whole uh, I all these ones I've saved, and then some of them I've printed up, but then I don't have them organized anyway, so I have to like go through the list until I find a recipe that oh yeah, let's cook that. I put that on, and then I go through, keep going, and I page through them until I find what's the week's choices.
Mm. What do you
But
guys
besides,
do? What were you
go
gonna
ahead.
say? Yeah, no, no.
Besides that, I like to go to the mountains. Last year I bought a convertible, an old convertible. It's a 2008 Toyota Solara, and I love to drive in the mountains.
That's rare to
Used to,
find one of those too.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you're
they're hard to
lucky.
find. This was a low mileage one. It had 48,000 on it when I bought it, um, and it was in great condition. But go to the mountains. We used to go skiing in the mountains. I haven't done that for a while. I have a bad knee right now. We can go to the beach from here pretty easily. Just to walk on the beach is awesome. I love to hike, but I'm not hiking so much because of the knee.
Yeah.
Um, and then I've been playing golf. I play there's a short course basically. It's par three but 18 holes, but it's a beautiful course. It's like 10 minutes from my house,
That's
and
nice.
so I love to do that.
And your game's getting better and better.
My game's getting better and better. I love to play backgammon. I spend a lot of time on a backgammon app.
Any
Play,
instruments? Play any instruments?
I do not. I wish I did. And that's something else I keep thinking, oh, I'll pick it up.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, I know. Well, you could still, absolutely. You could still, it sounds like you're really enjoying life and you're taking it as it comes and maximizing it. All these fantastic roles you've played over the years on epic TV series and film, and of
Yeah, I've been
course,
looking.
Days of Our Lives, which is revered, and Young and the Restless. And um, do you like to travel if there was more opportunities separate from the van with the light and the curtains, which you've done in the 37 states? Is that something that you would enjoy even more if you had time?
Yes, and we we tend to do a lot of traveling in the States because we still have relatives. We have relatives on the East Coast and we have relatives in Chicago. So we do that a lot. But I recently took my pension, and SAG has an option. When you take your pension, you can take a partial lump sum. So I
Oh,
took
that's
a partial lump
great.
sum, and I took that money and I put it in a bank account, and that's a travel account because I really would love to take my wife and go to Europe and explore a little bit. And so I think there's at least one good trip in there for Europe. And
Where would you like to go? Anywhere in Europe specific, or just go and check it all out?
I kind of want to check it all out. I've been to London,
Mm.
and I like that. I do want to go there and see the old Globe,
Oh yeah.
and see a show there. The last time I went, I saw like 13 shows in a week when I was there. I just like went to everything I could. Um,
Absolutely. The West
in,
End and everything. Yeah.
yeah, and including going up to Stratford-on-Avon and seeing a show there. I love Shakespeare. I've done some Shakespeare. I worked a bit with Chicago Shakespeare when I was there. It used to be called Shakespeare Rep, now it's Chicago Shakespeare. And they have a huge new space, which I'm envious of because I worked in all the smaller spaces before that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Europe, I'd love to go to Paris. I want to go to, my friend Tony has done a lot of traveling. And so I'll probably, ask him, okay, what's your 6 favorite places? And then try to do them all.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's fantastic that you get a chance to travel and do what you can. It's just a matter of making the time because you're always busy. Does your phone ring a lot? Is it, hey, we want you for this, we want you for that? And because again, you've been in a lot of different shows, and you probably have even had where you're in one recurring and you're on set and somebody else calls and says, hey, we would like you to be a part of this. How do you,
You
what
know,
happens then?
uh, my recurring stuff is sporadic. Some it'll go in runs, so to speak, coinciding with storylines, right? So I'll have a storyline and I'll see that to the end, and then they don't need Dr. Rolf for a while, so he goes away, and
It
then
goes on an African safari or something,
yeah,
right?
like at one time, in one episode, they had he left in a submarine.
Right.
You know, he's he's off on some island with his secret lab.
As long
You
as
know,
he doesn't have a car that loses its brakes and goes off a cliff, then
that's right.
you'll be back.
That's right.
And if that does happen, you'll be back as the evil brother of
Exactly.
Dr. Rolf with plastic surgery that's happened, and you'll start in the hospital scene on an IV. That's right. It's usually
Your lips to the writer's ears.
that's it.
But but
Well, he
Dr.
looks
Rolf
like the
is.
other guy. No, that's not him.
I think of Dr. Rolf as a tool, right? They bring him in for to make certain things happen. I've brainwashed people. In the picture you're seeing there, I had transplanted the heart. There were twins, and I transplanted the heart of one into the other, the brothers, and
Changing their personalities and everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've tried to erase people's memories. Um, I've had people on ice for several years and then brought them back. So it depends on the storyline that they have, and how they want the other characters to evolve. And
Right.
so Dr. Rolf has always been kind of a henchman, but a scientific henchman with his own bag of tricks.
Yeah. Really amazing. You're having fun with that role, aren't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a great character, and the writers they have fun writing it. It might not be apparent, but he has alliteration. They give Dr. Rolf alliteration, and I try to play that up because I think he's thinks of himself as educated, or he thinks of himself as a genius, obviously. And so he enjoys language, and the writers give me good language to play with. It's really fun.
You know,
And
I mentioned,
in terms of other shows,
yeah,
you know,
Criminal Minds too.
mhm.
Daryl Sutton.
Oh yeah, and that was actually a challenge because there was a lot of medical terminology that just had to kind of trip off the tongue there. And
So yeah, how do you? I think that I remember that there was a couple of interviews years ago. They asked the actors and actresses on ER, where it was, it's constant medical. What do they do? How do they know? How do they learn to even pronounce the words and all? And they would sometimes, talk to actual real doctors, actually go visit doctors in hospitals and see the
mhm.
way things are. What about you with something like that? Do you um, have to do that kind of thing, sort of immerse yourself in the real world of it so you can bring it into the setting of the television show?
You know, I start by going online and looking for pronunciations. And there's a lot nowadays. You can find anything online, and I'll find a number of people pronouncing it on videos, special words, and I research what the words mean in terms of the procedures they represent. I do have my father's third wife, my stepmother, has a medical background. My sister married an anesthesiologist, so I do have resources there, um, and I try to educate myself as much as possible. And that's one of the beauties of being an actor is you're thrown into different universes, and you have to find out about them and learn about them, and so you kind of become more and more educated the longer you live and the more things you portray.
Now, the medical folks that are in the family there, do they say, "Good job, you pronounced that well," and "Wow, that was very convincing, Richard"?
Well, they're kind of quiet. I don't know.
They don't say
Yeah.
anything. Don't come near me with that scalpel.
That's right.
Leave me alone. That is funny. So you're in a sweet spot. You're really enjoying the ride, and you've worked very hard all these years and continue to. And you're on these great series and shows, and the phone continues to ring, and you balance it out with family life, which isn't always easy. But you're in a good place right now, it seems, Richard, huh?
I am. I'm very fortunate. Since COVID, it's still the tradition right now to record your own auditions at home, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good in that you get to perfect your performance and give them what you think is your best you. It's bad in that you're not walking into a room and meeting people, and they don't get the vibe of you, so to speak, um, and you don't get to ask questions, and they don't get to redirect necessarily unless they call you back. But I'm fortunate because my wife used to be an actress before I met her, and then she turned to art, and she went back to school at the Art Institute. But she still has some acting chops, and so she's my reader when I audition at home. So I feel like I have a leg up there. Every once in a while, she can't do it, and I wrangle one of my kids in. But for the most part, 95% of my readings are with her. And she also sometimes directs.
Between you and me, right?
Yeah, between you and me.
There's nobody else watching or listening
That's
right
right.
now.
But I am the final say.
But
I do get to say,
right, I like that there's a whole
take, I
right,
submit.
right. That is a whole thing. I've had to do a few of those for industrial work, spokesperson work, and commercial work, where you have to like set everything up yourself. And if you are somebody that likes to converse with people, like even with the casting director or the people, sometimes you see some of the same people that are going for auditions or what have you.
Right.
For me, it would be like New York and the tri-state area, but when you don't have that, it's an interesting thing because you don't always get the feedback to know or the direction of this, try another take, or because
Right.
sometimes they would do, or give us a delivery that's, twist it up and do something, talk slower, or do this or do that. You just send a bunch of different and throw it in the air. Whenever it goes, it goes. And
Right.
has that worked for you? Have you gotten things as a result of doing it that way?
I have. I've been lucky. I mean, everything I've gotten in the last 4 or 5 years has been on tape. So
Mm,
I've been pretty lucky that way. And then sometimes you'll get a call back and you'll do it like a Zoom interview, basically a Zoom audition. Although those I don't find as fun because there's nothing like being in the room with another actor. If you're
exactly right.
you call back together.
Absolutely right. Yeah, it's the feedback and the yin and yang playing back and forth, and which is really something quite special. There's his website too, everybody. You can learn more about our very special celebrated guest and all the things he's working on, and the shows he's been on, shows he's on now, and all the other things are happening in the future and on the socials as well. Richard, this was really a terrific, I don't say interview, I say conversation, free flowing, unscripted conversations we have
Very
here on
fun.
the Jim Masters Show, and going a little bit down memory lane, talking about current projects and why you do what you do and how you do what you do. And you get a chance every night to say, yeah, I nailed it. And again, that's the look he had when he was told he's going on the Jim Masters Show
That's
by
right.
the big people in Hollywood who contacted us and said, Richard's coming on. I said, we know who he is. We want to have the doctor in the house. That is funny.
I raise my arms a lot. Okay.
He raises his arms. He's like, okay, let's go. On Days of Our Lives, folks, and really everywhere else that you could possibly think, he's really something else. Richard, thanks for stopping by the Jim Masters Show. It really was a terrific conversation. As I say to all the guests, we keep the porch light on for them. So you are welcome back, my friend. Anytime you want to stop by, just say hello. There's new things you're excited about. And of course, spread the word to other folks about our series you think might want to pop on as well. And of course, we thank all of our viewers watching and commenting. It means the world to us. And we appreciate and see all the wonderful comments coming in. And a real pleasure. And I truly hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Rich.
I did, Jim. It was really, really fun to talk with you.
You as well, my friend. Come see us again, okay? And
Okay.
you be well. And oh yeah, I've been asking a couple of folks recently before they go. Are there any holiday
We'll go to the question.
traditions? Yeah, I was gonna say, here's the big question.
Yeah.
Like holidays coming up, do you guys have like certain family traditions, certain things that you do for Thanksgiving and Christmas and the different holidays? Are there things that you're looking forward to that happen for you and the family?
Banana cream pie, man. The family recipe banana cream
Ooh,
pie.
wow.
I make it. But I got the recipe from my Aunt Cookie. And, but, the tradition for me from when I was growing up, my parents were divorced, but my father's family, big family, big family gatherings always, and the traditional turkey and sweet potatoes and everything, and the adults at one table and the kids at another, that whole thing. And since I've moved to LA, I've kind of, moved away from that. And also the generation that kept that tradition strong, it gradually got tired of doing it. And the next generation didn't necessarily pick up the mantle.
And then they pass on, and a lot of those traditions go with them too,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
But I've maintained it here. I have an aunt who's 6 months older than me. She was living in LA for a long time. She's now in Florida, but she would come over and we would swap holidays and do that. This
That's
year,
great.
for the first time, we're going to some friends of ours and doing it there. Christmas and Thanksgiving are the big
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah.
But I will make the banana cream pie, and my
Banana
wife
cream
will
pie.
make her famous sweet potato dish.
Sweet
So
potato, banana cream pie, tuna fritters. I mean, this is good. And even does a White Castle commercial. A foodie in the house. Well, now that you know that the doctor can eat banana cream pie and all these goodies,
that's right.
it's,
Bring it
it,
on.
Bring it on, he says. Dr. Rolf says, bring it on. Richard, again, really a delight to have you here. Come see us again and spread the word about us as we continue to with you, and best of everything, the holidays and continued success. And I'm sure we'll welcome you back here on the Jim Masters Show. That would be a real pleasure, my friend.
Thanks so much. It's really been a pleasure. And congratulations to you on your multitude of episodes and the success of your show. It's really fun to meet you and to see your world.
Thank you very much. And you're now a part of it, my friend. So we'll see you again soon, okay?
Yep. Happy holidays to all.
Thanks, Doc. Be well. There he is. He said, you be well. He's the best. Thanks, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
You bet.
Take care. Yes, fantastic. Huh? What a great conversation that was. And a terrific guy, Richard Wharton, a celebrated television film stage actor. He's been doing this for a long time. And as I mentioned, he's been in some of your favorite TV shows and series and independent and films. And of course, Days of Our Lives as Dr. Rolf with the German accent. You'll look for him now. And anytime you see him doing that, you're going to think of the time he was on the Jim Masters Show and he told you some of the behind the scenes and the brainwashing and the heart transplants and everything else. But a seasoned veteran actor who takes on all of these incredible roles, and this one great too. Oh, I wanted to ask him about this. Before we go, I'm glad you're there. This is a great shot from another,
that's
production.
that's Rizzoli and Isles, and that's Nathan. I think his last name is Sutton, and Nathan and I actually, he and his wife produced some small independent films, and I've worked for him and played his father, and then we happened to work on the same show together, and so that's when this picture was taken.
And that was Rizzoli and Isles. That's a great one too. That's a great shot. I saw that. And are you a hat guy? I love to wear hats.
I do have hats. I have a large collection.
That's a cool one. That one there.
Yeah, that's my Mardi Gras hat, right?
It's cool. Yeah, that looks good.
Right. Nathan has since, and his wife have since moved to St. Louis, and they're making a living there because they had they have twin boys, and so they moved closer to home to have to live there and
with the family and
make a living there. And I'm looking forward to their next film project whenever that happens.
Absolutely.
In between the kids.
In between the kids, and when they call you and they tell you about that opportunity, there's going to be the expression.
Exactly.
All right. I saw that. I'm like, we didn't talk about that. I wanted to ask about that. Yeah. Good stuff, my friend. That was an encore. He gave you an encore, everybody. That was he went off stage and came back on for you. Thanks again for the generosity of time as well, my friend. You be well. Go make a sandwich now. Go stretch those legs. Let the cats in.
Yeah, they're indoor-outdoor cats. So you're exactly
they're indoor-outdoor. So they do their thing. They're in control. Mm-hmm. The cats are always in control.
We've trained them though.
Yeah,
we've trained them. We live in an area that's slightly rural, and so there's coyotes and stuff. So you have to be careful. So we would let them out, and then we whistle. They come in. They get fed. We let them out again. So they can go out several times, but they have to come when we whistle. So that's our way of making sure they come in at the end of the day, so they're not out in the peak coyote time at night.
Do they ever bring anything home as a gift?
Not too often, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Look what I've got in my mouth.
They leave it somewhere around the property.
They leave it off before coming in. Cool stuff, my friend. Thanks again, and best of everything. And we will chat again real soon, okay?
Yep. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. Again, Richard Wharton joining us here. Yeah, we wanted to pull up that picture because that was a great shot there. And Good stuff. Again, catch him on Days of Our Lives and look for him at all those other places and much more. And of course, his website there. You can keep abreast of everything Richard Wharton. He's a great guy, very talented. You've seen him for years all over your TV in various roles. And now you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, that was him in that. And he was in that. And oh, I remember when he was in that, which is really, really cool. If you enjoyed this episode, folks, well, don't forget you can follow us on all the socials at Jim Masters TV on Facebook, X, and Twitter, or X is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and X. And if you liked this episode, give us a thumbs up like on the YouTube channel. That helps us grow, helps more people around the world see our episodes. Give it a thumbs up like, share the episode on your social media. You can share it right from the YouTube channel, right on your socials. Leave a comment, drop a comment below. We love when people comment on our episodes and we respond to you as best as we can. It's nice to hear what you say, what you think. Maybe you have seen him in all these different roles on television, and let us know. We'd love to hear that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And don't forget to click the notification bell icon so you never miss any of the episodes of the Jim Masters Show Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. No, don't go anywhere. Another great episode is coming up right now next, so stay tuned for that. But one more time, we want to thank award-winning actor, the one and only Richard Wharton, joining us here from Los Angeles, California. And great guy, and a terrific, terrific conversation here on JMS. Thanks for being with us, everybody, on this episode. Again, stay right there. Another terrific episode comes up. And check out all the past episodes. Binge watch. There are hundreds and hundreds you can enjoy for your entertainment and viewing pleasure. Jim Masters here. Don't forget to love one another, take care of one another. And as I always say, don't forget to take time to do that for yourself as well. And we love you all. And thanks for joining us on this episode of the Jim Masters Show. We'll keep the porch light on for you as well, gang, okay? Be well, everybody. Take care and cheers.